Welcome back. The Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey is open. The new set of questions from the Office of Personnel Management includes some about the coronavirus. Mika Cross is a federal workplace expert. Mika, thanks for coming on. It's great to see you again. What's your sense of what OPM is asking employees about the coronavirus response and what you expect to see results-wise?
Yeah, so it's really exciting, first of all, that we're seeing that FEVS actually launched after a few delays this year, which should be expected. But in addition to the regular questions that are typically asked on the FEVS, we'll see about 20 or so COVID-related questions that will really gauge whether or not people felt connected, supported, had the resources and technology that they needed to achieve the mission in an effective way, and also other impacts to well-being and satisfaction on productivity in the FEVS. So I'm really excited to see what this year's results look like overall.
It sounds from what you've told me before like those questions are similar to the questions that OPM asks about employees being in the office. Is that correct?
There are some similarities, but there are really specific areas that really assess whether or not people are prepared, have the right kinds of technology and tools to do their jobs appropriately, and especially in this kind of environment, I think it's incredibly important.
I know the results won't be out for a while, Mika, but what should people start thinking about now about how to interpret the data that they get back on coronavirus questions?
Well, first of all, this will be really great information to help inform leaders at all levels on what they could be doing differently with regards to communication, connection, and even different kinds of skills like empathy, gratitude. There's a question I saw from one of the agency's FEDS surveys that actually asked about what kind of workplace culture areas would you like to cultivate, whether that be generational differences, whether that be competencies in listening. It's going to be a really unique time for us to be able to really get a nice baseline on what we did well across the federal space and where there could be improvements, really in all environments. You know, not everybody are on extended work from home orders. So this really applies to all full-time and part-time permanent employees that were on the roll since last October.
How should organizations use this data when it comes out to think about moving forward? We're not going to be in the pandemic forever. We're not going to be in an all-hands remote work environment forever, but we keep hearing Jonathan Album a moment ago on the program was talking about expecting to see a hybrid environment forever, and that means, I imagine, a dramatic rethinking about the way that we think about connecting with our employees.
Absolutely right, Francis. And, you know, we've been talking for so long around cultivating different sets of competencies for current and future leaders. And this is a really unique opportunity to do that. With the FEVS data that we will have, it will help inform what areas we need to really start focusing on in terms of allowing people to have all kinds of skills to connect and collaborate in any kind of hybrid environment. And there will be opportunities for some employees to continue working full-time remotely, some indefinitely, some long-term and potentially permanent. I think this is going to be a really great opportunity to use the FEVS for what it was intended to do. And this is our 18th year of assessing the workforce. We've never been through a global pandemic like this, so yeah.
Some of the broad themes that you and I have talked about over the years in the FEVS, engagement and so on, the leadership perspective that employees get from the people that lead them, from their managers. Will that stuff look different, do you think, as a result of this, or is really just the location of where employees are doing their jobs different in that dynamic, Mika?
I think in some respects we'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited to see how the impact of working this way has had an effect on leaders and how they're connecting with their folks. So I'm hearing really great stories from across federal agencies of leaders who are cultivating, you know, mental health and wellness and well-being activities as a team, checking in with employees more frequently on a one-on-one basis in a variety of ways. So not adding to the Zoom exhaustion and Zoom fatigue, but actually offering things like walking telephone meetings and team meetings where they're coming together to actually learn and support one another in different ways. So I think it's going to look really different. I have my own thoughts, but I don't want to put them out there until we get the data back necessarily.
All right, about 30 seconds left. I won't ask you for a prediction then, Mika, but what do you expect to see happen results-wise? You expect to see more engagement with just actually taking the survey, higher response rate, lower response rate, or about tracking about what we've seen?
I'm thinking higher response rate. I'm thinking we'll have a lot of information about how people had the right tools or not throughout the pandemic in order to get the job done, and how they were led in this really uncertain environment, and the areas where we can really improve upon. So there'll be some of the same from the last surveys in the past years, but a lot of different and really interesting data for us to parse through. I can't wait to talk about it more when we get the results, Francis.
Mika Cross, I apologize for asking you to make a prediction, or saying I wouldn't, and then asking you to make one. It's great to see you.
Great to see you as always.